Hi, everyone. I'm Todd Duncan, and I teach physics and astronomy at Pacific University here in Forest Grove, Oregon, on the surface of planet Earth. One of the things I usually do in the summer is host public star parties where lots of people gather together under the night sky and a few volunteers bring telescopes, and everyone has the opportunity to view some of the wonders of our universe and ask questions and connect with other curious people and have a conversation from many different perspectives and ponder how we fit within a larger cosmic context. Of course, we can't do that right now this year because of the health risks of large gatherings. But with everything that's going on in the world right now, it seems like we need a reminder of our common humanity now more than ever. So I've been experimenting with different versions of virtual star parties, and this video is part of that experiment, which I hope you will enjoy and find useful. So I have my little telescope set up here, so let me show you telescope so you can see what we're talking about, what we're going to be looking through tonight. So there, right, trying to orient it. There we go. So there's the telescope. And the other thing you can see from the scan around here, even in the low light, is that I'm in a pretty ordinary location, right? I'm on a brick walkway just off the steps of the front porch. There's a street light nearby. There's trees and houses and telephone poles that block the view of the sky in some places. Often there's a mixture of clouds and clear patches in the sky. I'm in a town that's not too far from large cities, so the sky's not super dark most of the time. It's not bad, but I'm not off somewhere on a remote mountaintop observatory like you might think of when you associate with astronomy. And so I'm not in a particularly good observing site, and yet that's part of the point, is to remind you that the universe is all of this, all around you, right? I mean, we're going to be looking at distant locations in the universe, but wherever you are, your everyday life is also embedded in this cosmic context that I'm about to show you. You just have to pause for a moment and really notice what's all around you. Which brings me to really the basic objective I have in making this video. Like I said, I'm going to be showing you things that are very, very far away and can seem disconnected from your life. But I think you'll find that observing them creates an experience that's very local and internal and personal. So basically my goal is to create an experience in this moment, right where you are, wherever you happen to be, of being connected to your larger self, your cosmic context, because you're part of all of this. So my suggestion, and the way I've kind of set up the video and what I'm choosing to look at and stuff, my suggestion is to find a convenient spot where you can see the sky from wherever you are. Maybe gather together a few family and friends who are part of your local bubble. Have a picnic if you want to, get binoculars out if you have some binoculars, even a small telescope if you want to give that a try if you have one, but you don't need to because I've got my telescope here. I'll show you what we see through that. Right, so just basically get comfortable somewhere where you can notice your surroundings and have conversations with the people close to you about whatever comes up. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to point out where in the sky the things I'm looking at are, so that you can hopefully turn your gaze in that direction in your local sky, right? So I'm going to be showing you on a computer program where in the sky I have things set up, and then you can and I'm choosing things that hopefully will be visible to lots of people under lots of different circumstances in terms of where they are in the sky, so you can find them in your local sky before I show you through the telescope. So that way you can connect the image you see on the screen more directly to where it is in the real night sky that you're looking up at. I know it's not quite the same as being at the telescope in person, up on a mountaintop somewhere, but it can be pretty close, and I think it can be a pretty powerful experience. All right, so I'm going to pull up some slides here to show you what we're going to be looking at tonight, and also give you a couple of tools that you might find useful to help you navigate in the night sky. Because like I said, I don't want you to just look at the objects that I'm going to be showing you through the telescope. I'd like you to have a sense of where they are in your sky and be able to find your way around a little bit. So let's see if I can do the screen share magic here. So I'm sharing my screen. And I want to share my PowerPoint slides. Do share. Okay, and then do slideshow. All right. So a couple of tools that you can use for finding your way around the sky, depending on whether you want the sort of, turn on the light here, see a little bit better. It looks spooky, but at least you can see when I'm talking and what I'm going to demonstrate here in a second. Okay, so so a couple of things that I think you might find useful. So tools for finding your way around the sky. So the first one, and what I'm going to be using to show you stuff here in just a second, is called Stellarium. It's a free open source program. It works on almost all platforms, standard platforms. You'll see it demonstrated here a little bit later on when I'm pointing out things in the night sky. There's also a web version of it, and I think there are versions that you can get on apps on your phone. But the idea is that it's basically a simulation of the sky, and you can choose it to whatever location you're at so that you can actually see kind of where different objects are and you can navigate your way around. Like I said, I'll show you that. Links that I've got here, I'll put them up on the YouTube channel and Facebook and wherever else we post this, on our website, wherever else we post these videos. Okay. All right, so that's the first one, and like I said, I'll show you that in a second. The second is if you want the low-tech version, which I also kind of highly recommend having one of these as well, is you can make your own star wheel. And there are different versions of these that you can do. I just put a link to one in particular on the Sky and Telescope website. If you just Google make your own star wheel, you'll find options for how to do this. So basically the idea then is it's just like a map like you would use on the surface of the Earth, except that in the sky, as you've probably noticed, the stars move depending on the time of year and the time of night and so on. And so if I hold this up here so that you guys can see, so the idea is that the sky is this piece represents the night sky. That should really be folded around in kind of a dome shape that shows you where all the constellations are in the sky. And then it's projected onto a flat thing. So you have to use your imagination a little bit to figure out exactly how everything fits together. And then it's in a sleeve that reflects the fact that because of the Earth and the fact that the Earth is turning, right, there's restrictions on what parts of the sky we can see at any given time, right? So you'll see it once you have it downloaded or you go to the website, but there's basically a set of dials here that you can set to your local time and your date, month and day. And then when you have that set, then the window of what it shows you will you orient it for. So for example, like the bottom here is the southern hemisphere. You orient this overhead facing south, say in that case, and then it shows you roughly what's in the sky at that time. And as time goes on, you rotate the disk, and that'll show you how things turn in the sky and how the stars move across the sky. Okay, so I think this is really handy. Even if you use the Stellarium also, it's handy to have something like this just to be able to kind of get a physical feel for how the sky is moving and how that all works. Okay. So that's really all you need. And I'm going to hopefully, oh yeah, sorry. I wanted to do one more thing. Well, actually, I'll come back to that. So the other slide that I'll show you in a little bit is the objects that we're actually going to look at tonight. So that you can get a sense of what I have in mind to look at. And the idea is, like I said, this is one of our first attempts at making these videos. So I picked out a few things that I think are particularly interesting to see and that you'll be able to see from a fairly wide range of locations on the surface of the Earth. But you can make comments in the comment section on YouTube or send me an email, and I'll make other versions of this that we can look at different objects if people have other things that they want to look at. Okay. All right. So that's just to give you a little bit of background of what we're doing, give you the kind of the layout of things so that you can go get yourself oriented, find the spot where you want to be watching the sky. And then I'm going to pause here for a minute to wait for the Earth to turn a little bit more so that we have dark sky that we can actually look at some of the objects I have in mind. And then I will be back in a few minutes and we will continue on with getting the telescope out and actually looking at cool stuff in the universe. All right, so I'll see you in a minute.